In the previous example, we learned that the syntax for declaring a function involves using the word function followed by the identifier and then two parentheses. The parentheses are used to pass an argument to the function. In other words, this is in order for the function to do some operation on a variable or variables that you send to the function. To declare a function that requires an argument, you would stipulate the variable or variables to be passed to the function within the parentheses, and then when calling the function, you would place the code that would pass as the variable between the parentheses. So for example, you would define your function as usual with the word function followed by the name you assign to the function, and then between the parentheses, you would place the name of the variable. Then when calling your function, you would stipulate the argument to be passed to the function within the parentheses. Let's have a look at a practical example to illustrate this. In this example, we will create a function into which we will pass a string of text as a variable txt, and the function will then output that string in between two h1 tags. So we'll start off with our opening and closing PHP tags, and then we'll define our function, call this function custom text, and then in between the parentheses we'll pass the variable txt. Then our opening and closing curly braces for our block of code. Then we'll use the PHP echo statement once again. Create our h1 tags, and then in between the h1 tags we'll then pass the variable txt. Okay, so our function is defined, and we've defined the argument as the variable txt. So then to call the function, we will then use the name that we assigned to the function, and then in between the parentheses we will then pass the string of text, which will then become the variable txt. So let's just say some text. So some text will then be passed to the function. It will then become the variable txt. In the echo statement, we echo the variable txt, and this is then encapsulated in h1 tags. So let's save and head over to our browser to see what the output is. Alright, so there we can see that it outputs the word some text in between h1 tags. So let's go back to our code. We'll call the function once again, just to prove that it's doing what it should be doing. And then in between the parentheses, we will then pass another string, some other text. Alright, hit save, head over to the browser, we'll hit refresh, and there we go. Our function is now taking a string of text, passing it as a variable to the function, and then the function is then performing the action of outputting the text in between two h1 tags.